I never thought I'd be the kind of person to air out family drama, but here I am, 32 years old, sitting in my small apartment, staring at a bank statement that's missing $300,000. My name's Owen, and this mess started when my parents decided my retirement fund was their personal piggy bank to build my sister Stella's dream house. They called me ungrateful when I dared to push back. If that's not enough to make your blood boil, stick around, because it gets worse, and I had to fight tooth and nail to come out on top. Let me take you back to the beginning. I grew up in a tight-knit family, or so I thought. My parents always preached fairness, but looking back, Stella, my younger sister by 4 years, always got the bigger slice of the pie. She's 28 now, charming, a bit spoiled, and the kind of person who can talk her way into or out of anything. She's not a bad person, but she's used to getting what she wants, and our parents have never said no to her. Me? I'm the practical one, the one who worked 2 jobs through college, saved every penny, and built a retirement fund that was supposed to be my safety net. I'm not flashy. I drive a 10-year-old car and live in a modest 1-bedroom place, but I'm proud of what I've built. Then there's my best friend, Henry, who's 34 and the most level-headed guy I know. He's a financial advisor, which came in handy later. My cousin Andrew, 30, is the opposite, impulsive, a bit of a dreamer, and always chasing some new business idea. He's close to Stella, which made things trickier. And finally, there's Ivy, my girlfriend of 2 years. She's 31, a nurse, fiercely independent, and the one person who kept me sane through this ordeal. Her no-nonsense attitude was a lifeline when things got messy. The trouble started about 6 months ago. I got a call from my mom, her voice all bubbly, saying Stella and her fiancé, a guy named Mark, were planning their dream home. It was going to be this big, modern house with a pool, a home theater, the works. I was happy for her. Stella's always wanted a picture-perfect life. But then Mom dropped the bomb. They were short on cash for the down payment and construction costs. Before I could even ask what that had to do with me, she said, "We borrowed some money from your retirement fund. It's family, Owen. You understand." I froze. Borrowed? How much? Oh, just $300,000. We'll pay it back, don't worry. $300,000. That was almost my entire nest egg, scraped together over a decade of late nights and skipped vacations. I felt like someone had punched me in the gut. "You didn't ask me," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. Mom's tone shifted, like I'd offended her. "We didn't think you'd mind. It's for your sister. You've always been so responsible, Owen. Don't be selfish." Selfish? I hung up, my hands shaking. I called my dad, hoping he'd be the voice of reason, but he backed Mom up. "Stella needs this, Owen. You're doing fine. You'll make that money back in no time." I checked my account, and sure enough, the money was gone. They'd accessed it through some old joint account setup from when I was younger, something I'd forgotten to close. I felt betrayed, violated even. This wasn't just money. It was my future, my security. And they took it without a second thought. That's when the first problem piled on. Stella's reaction. I called her, hoping she'd be horrified that our parents had done this. Instead, she got defensive. "It's not like you're using that money right now, Owen," she said. "Mark and I need a home for our future kids. You're single, you don't get it." Ivy, who was listening on speaker, nearly lost it. "Single or not, it's his money, Stella," she snapped. Stella hung up, and I could tell she was painting me as the bad guy to our parents. The second issue was Andrew, my cousin. He's always been tight with Stella, and apparently, she'd roped him into this mess by promising him a cut of some future real estate deal tied to the house. Andrew called me a week later, saying, "Come on, man, it's family. Why are you making a big deal out of this? Stella's house is going to be an investment for all of us." I tried to explain that I didn't sign up for any investment, but he just kept talking about how I was holding the family back. I was drowning in frustration. My parents, Stella, and now Andrew were all acting like I was the problem for wanting my own money back. I couldn't sleep, couldn't focus at work. Ivy suggested I talk to Henry, and that's when things started to shift. Henry was appalled when I told him the full story. "Owen, this is theft, plain and simple," he said. "You need to protect yourself, now." He helped me freeze my remaining accounts and suggested I consult a lawyer. I was hesitant. Suing my own family felt like crossing a line, but Henry pointed out that they'd already crossed a bigger one. I met with a lawyer named Eliana, a friend of Henry's who specialized in financial disputes. She was sharp, No nonsense, and didn't sugarcoat things. Your parents had no legal right to take that money, she said. We can demand repayment, and, if they refuse, take them to court. But it's going to get ugly. Ugly was an understatement. I sent a formal letter, drafted by Eliana, demanding the money be returned within 30 days. My parents didn't even respond directly. They had Stella call me, crying, saying I was tearing the family apart. How could you do this to us? She sobbed. You're so ungrateful. We've always supported you. Supported me? I wanted to scream. I'd paid my own way through college, never asked them for a dime, while they'd covered Stella's tuition and even bought her a car. But I stayed calm and repeated that I just wanted my money back. She hung up, and the next day, my mom left me a voicemail saying they were disappointed in me and might have to reconsider my place in the family. That hurt. I won't lie. I spent a few nights wondering if I was the bad guy. Ivy was my rock, reminding me that I wasn't wrong for standing up for myself. They're guilt-tripping you because they know they're in the wrong, she said. Don't let them win. The weeks after my parents refused to respond to the lawyer's letter were some of the darkest I'd ever faced. I'd lie awake at night, replaying every family dinner, every holiday, wondering when I'd become invisible to them. Ivy would find me staring at old photos on my phone. Me, Stella, and our parents at the beach when we were kids, all smiles. I kept asking myself how we got here. Was it my fault for not speaking up sooner about the favoritism? I even started questioning whether I was overreacting, but then I'd look at my depleted bank account and feel that fire in my chest again. Ivy suggested therapy, and though I wasn't sure at first, I started seeing a counselor who helped me untangle the guilt and anger. It was slow, but it gave me the clarity to keep fighting, not just for the money, but for my own self-respect. I also couldn't shake a memory from when I was 22, fresh out of college and scraping by. I'd asked my parents for a small loan to cover a deposit on an apartment. Nothing crazy, maybe $2,000. They'd said no, claiming they were tight on cash and that I needed to learn independence. A month later, they surprised Stella with a brand new car for her 20th birthday, complete with a big red bow like something out of a commercial. I remember standing in their driveway, forcing a smile while my stomach churned. Stella hugged me, oblivious, and my parents acted like it was no big deal. That was the first time I realized they'd always bend over backward for her. But for me, it was tough love. That memory fueled me now. It wasn't just about the $300,000. It was about years of being pushed to the side. The 30 days passed, and my parents didn't pay a cent. Eliana filed a lawsuit. And that's when the third problem hit. Family backlash. Word got out. And suddenly, I was the villain at every family gathering. My aunt called me greedy. My uncle said I was too focused on money. Even Andrew, who I'd always been close to, stopped talking to me, saying I was betraying Stella. The only people in my corner were Ivy, Henry, and surprisingly, my grandma, who called me one night and said, "Owen, you're doing the right thing. Your parents should be ashamed." The lawsuit dragged on, and it was exhausting. Court dates, legal fees, and the constant emotional toll of fighting my own family wore me down. But Eliana was relentless, and Henry kept me grounded with practical advice, like setting up a new retirement plan and investing what little savings I had left to start rebuilding. Meanwhile, Stella's house was going up. She'd post pictures on social media, marble countertops, a massive chandelier, a pool that looked like it belonged in a resort. Every post felt like a slap in the face. I stopped checking her accounts, but Andrew would still send me passive-aggressive texts about how nice the house was turning out. Then came a breakthrough. Eliana discovered that my parents had taken out a second mortgage on their own house to fund Stella's project, on top of my money. This was a game changer. It showed they were in over their heads financially. Eliana suggested we offer a settlement. They'd repay me in installments, secured against their house, or we'd push for a full court ruling that could force them to sell assets. I didn't want to destroy my parents, so I agreed to the settlement idea. We sent a new proposal. They'd pay me back $300,000 over 5 years, with interest, and sign a contract ensuring it. If they missed a payment, I could go after their house. It was harsh, but fair. To my surprise, they agreed, probably because they knew they'd lose in court. But the fallout was brutal. Stella stopped speaking to me entirely, and my parents barely acknowledged me at family events. Andrew tried to play peacemaker, but I told him I wasn't interested in his excuses anymore. The first payment hit my account 3 months ago, and it felt like a weight lifted. I used it to pay off some legal fees and put the rest into a new retirement fund, one my parents can't touch. Ivy and I started talking about our future. Maybe a house of our own someday, but one we'd pay for ourselves. Henry's been helping me invest smarter, and I'm slowly rebuilding what I lost. Looking back, I'm proud of how I handled it. I didn't let guilt or family pressure stop me from doing what was right. But it's not all sunshine. I miss the closeness I used to have with my parents and Stella. Part of me wonders if I could have found another way, maybe talk them into paying me back without the lawsuit. But then I remember how they dismissed me, called me ungrateful, and I know I had to stand my ground. I'm in a better place now than I was 6 months ago. My finances are stabilizing. I've got Ivy and Henry in my corner, and I've learned to set boundaries with my family. But I'm curious to hear what you think. Was there a better way to handle this? Should I try to mend things with Stella and my parents, or keep my distance? And for anyone who's been through something like this, how do you rebuild trust after your family betrays you? I'd love to know your thoughts, because even now, I'm still figuring out what's next.